So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here about BSN Network. Welcome back here at BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Friday, December 18th. Hope everyone's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is, in fact, Friday, December 18th. We are now officially a week away from Christmas, which is a very, very, very good thing. And we are now officially, 4 days away from the start of the NBA season. I'm excited. Hopefully you are as well. A lot of good things coming up in the sports world. We got a couple games on tonight. We got games on tomorrow. We got games on Sunday. We got NFL on tomorrow. Kentucky on tomorrow. College football on tomorrow. Sunday, we got some more NFL. Monday, you got some more NFL. Tuesday's the start of the NBA season. And you always have college basketball mixed around there. So, to be honest with you, we really can't be complaining anymore that there's no sports guy. NBA starting up. College basketball's in full swing. College football is getting to the most exciting time of the year. Conference championship games. To the conference championship games, the playoffs, that's the most exciting time of the year. NFL right now is getting to that soon. We're going to start to see the playoff picture really shape up within the next couple weeks. So there's a lot of good stuff coming up in the sports world, and like I said, I will keep you guys updated here on the podcast for the most recent news. We'll be all up here. I'll be covering the NBA, covering college, covering both colleges. Obviously, football will be done soon, so we'll be done talking about that. But with college basketball being in the full swing of things, NBA just starting up, things like that, we'll keep you in the loop here at BSN Arc. So just make sure if you want to, you can continue watching. Obviously, as we will have more and more shows. Like I said, Monday through Friday, every single day, Monday through Friday. Be talking sports, and if something happens over the weekend, I'll come on here on Monday and talk about it like I always do. So another exciting weekend ahead of us of sports. I think this might be one of the most packed weekends we've had in the past couple of months. I think tonight you got NBA, you got the Nets playing tonight, you got some college basketball and college football. Okay, tomorrow you have college basketball, NBA, NFL, and college football. All that stuff. Although I would probably go ahead and say, outside of the NBA preseason, not much NBA on outside the preseason. Then on Sunday, you got all the NFL. Monday, you got Monday Night Football like always, and then some other college basketball. Tuesday, you got the opening night of the NBA season. Wednesday, more NBA and college basketball. And then you got Thursday. It's literally, and then Christmas Day, you got all the Christmas Day basketball games. So just a packed, I shouldn't even say weekend, because a packed week ahead of us of sports. So we really should not be complaining that there's nothing on like we were 6 months ago when, in March and stuff where there was nothing on. We're not like that anymore. We have sports back. They're in the full swing of things, and they're going pretty well. So, so that's kind of just my intro here. These are the topics for today. We got NFL game picks and the Jets and the Giants, like I always do. Every single week, do the NFL game picks. Obviously, every single week, NFL game picks will be, giving you who I think will win, giving you my opinion on the game, all that good stuff every single week. I don't have to run through it again. We've been doing this for a very long time now. So, NFL game picks, Jets and Giants, all that good stuff. Then the fantasy football overview. Like I said, sit, start, who, questionables. I'll give you the injury report, who's starting, who's sitting, who's questionable, game time decisions, all that information for you. Obviously, the second week of playoffs this week, so hopefully your team is doing well. Because that's always good to win a championship. So hopefully your team is doing well. And is going to continue to do well. Then we also have today college basketball, college football, Kentucky, Nets, and the NBA. We'll give you all those game picks. College football, college basketball game picks. Kentucky's got a big game tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, CBS Sports Classic game. We got the Kentucky Wildcats versus North Carolina. That rivalry, some of the two best college basketball programs out there. Calipari, Williams. I mean, just the history between the two teams are really good. So it should be a pretty good game. I'm not confident in Kentucky to win the game, but I mean, what I saw last week out of Notre Dame in the second half was by far the best we played all season, but I want to see more. I just want to see better. I want to see better 40 minutes. 20 minutes isn't going to get the job done. 40 will. So we got to see. I don't foresee us winning this game tomorrow. North Carolina has had a very good year this year. But, hey, you never know. It's sports. But I don't foresee Kentucky winning tomorrow. But we'll get into it later on in the show. Hope I'm wrong about that. But, you just know how they've been playing. They're 1-4. They're struggling. March Madness at this point, we can't even talk about it because we got to get there first. A lot of these years, everyone's like, oh, Kentucky March Madness. This year, we got to actually get ourselves back in to March Madness. We got to be a lot better than what we've been playing these past 5 games. So, so obviously that's all that good stuff. Coming up later on podcast, Nets finished the preseason tonight with a game against the Boston Celtics. That is on 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, Yes Network, ESPN2, a nationally televised game. So I'm excited. I'm excited to watch. Hopefully you are as well. Got to see Katie and Kyrie one more time until the regular season starts. So, like I said, preseason, you want to see a win, but if they lose, it means absolutely nothing because after today, your focus is on the regular season. So with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So last night was a thrilling game. Was a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, these primetime games have been really good. We had Monday night primetime game against the Ravens and the Browns. Was unbelievable. I mean, just a fascinating game. Was just so much fun to watch. Just a ton of fun. Just a ton of fun to watch, and was exciting. It kept you watching, kept your eyes to the screen, right? There wasn't times where you'd be like, oh, this game's over. You were watching that game for the full 60 minutes. It was a very, very, very good game. This was the same thing yesterday. You had your eyeballs stuck to the TV for the full 60 minutes and some because obviously it went into overtime. This game was very good. I mean, the Chargers came out and really, really hurt the Raiders' chances. The Raiders' chances, I would go ahead and say now, are probably done. More than likely, I mean, the chances are so slim. They're 7-7 now. I mean, they obviously have to win out, but I just don't foresee the Raiders doing anything else after this. I mean, let's look at their upcoming schedule. We got the Dolphins. That's going to be tough, and then the Broncos. I say they probably finish around 8-8, something like that. This was not. I mean, the Raiders needed to win this game. They really did. Obviously, I got my pick wrong. I wasn't really surprised that I got my pick wrong yesterday. I picked the Raiders just because I just know how the Chargers work. They blow 90% of their games. They brung up that stat. In one-score games in the past 3 years or whatever, ever since Anthony Lynn came, they're like 6-25 in one-score games. Or they're like 6-25 when leading after like that just goes to show you how bad they are to hang on to leads. You saw what they did this year. They blew like 5 leads this year. They would have been probably 10-4. They would have probably been 10-5 right now, or 10-4 right now if it was never for some of those blown leads that they have. That's how bad they've been holding on to leads. That's why I didn't have them winning because you just can't trust this team late. And we saw it late yesterday with the Chargers. You had the missed field goal. You had the miscue on special teams. You had the missed field goal, obviously. Marcus Mariota looked like he was back in college yesterday, and I'll get to him in a second. But this Chargers team definitely made it interesting. By the way, quickly, I got my game pick obviously wrong yesterday. I moved to 144-74 on the season. So just kind of wanted to get that out of the way. But back to the Chargers. And you obviously had the missed kick. You had miscue on special teams, which resulted in a missed kick. They had to move back. The snap was really bad. The hold wasn't the greatest. It was just you knew that play was done from the start. And it was a 51-yard field goal, too. It was not like it was a 30-yard chip shot where maybe if it was a bad snap, it could be covered up. That was not the case. But ultimately, the Chargers were able to stop him on defense. Daniel Carlson, I don't know if this is just me, but this special teams, 3 to 4 years ago, I would probably venture to say, it was a guarantee kickers made kicks. It was literally a guarantee. It got to the point where, it was so guaranteed, if it came down to the final play of the game where they had to kick a field goal, it was to the point where, you know what, game's over. Forget about it. Nowadays, that is not the case. That is not the case anymore. Kickers can't make anything these days. Now, I know it was a 51-yarder and all that, but even the Daniel Carlson, he went perfect yesterday. He didn't miss the kick. But the time where they tried to kick the 65-yarder for the record, the holder couldn't even hold on to the snap. It wasn't a bad snap either. He had it right in his hands. It just hit right through his hands and hit him in the face mask. Special teams 3 years ago used to be unreal. It used to just be automatic. It used to be automatic. You used to see You used to see field goals, 50-yarder. Oh, it's a 45-yarder. Oh, easy. Now, some kickers you can't even trust hitting a 30-yarder. I mean, you saw the Jets kicker. He missed 3 straight field goals, and they were all 30-yard chip shots. Like, field goal kicking nowadays is completely different than it was. Back then, it used to be guarantee. Oh, it used to get to the point where it was like eliminate from the game, make it more interesting. Now, kicking is interesting, which makes it interesting from a fan standpoint. But even I was sitting there when he missed that kick. Like, really, you have one job and you can't even make it. Like, you have one. I'm not even a Chargers fan. I'm not a fan of either of these teams. I'll root for them. I mean, not saying that I don't hate them, but like I said, I'm a Jets fan, so I'm not a Chargers Raiders fan. Even me watching this game as not being a fan of either of these teams, it frustrated me when I saw these miscues on special teams. Like, are you kidding me? You have one job. You're out there for one play, and you can't do your job right. Oh my gosh. That's why you saw the Rams. They've gone through 3 kickers this year. The Jets, they've gone through 2 different ones, and then they just had to bring another one in. Like, kickers nowadays, outside of maybe Justin Tucker and a couple rookies that have made a name for themselves in the league, kickers nowadays just stink. They are awful. They are just so bad, and they blow games. It used to be automatic. Now, you can't trust them. You literally can't trust them. That's why I think you see a lot more teams going for it on 4th down and 1 or 4th down and 2 situations now, because they just can't trust their kicker. I mean, it's the truth. If it's a 45-yard kick and your kicker's struggling, even if he's not struggling, it's just these coaches, I think, realize it too, that you just can't trust the kickers anymore. Special teams has gotten really bad. I don't know what it is, but it's been bad. It has gotten real bad, and it got real bad quick because a couple years ago, it was automatic, forget about, game's over. Now it's 30-yard chip shots, not even a guarantee anymore. Back then, it used to be. Nowadays, that's not the case. But yeah, the Chargers won. I mean, Herbert looked good. Derek Carr obviously got injured. I'll tell you what, Marcus Mariota, although he took the loss yesterday, I mean, he did everything he could. He came into an odd situation. Derek Carr obviously had a groin injury, goes into the locker room, doesn't come back. He did come back out, but he was out of uniform and stuff. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully it's nothing major, because that's also down the road too. Your next 2 games, you want to have your quarterback healthy, although I don't think their playoffs are definitely their playoff chances have dwindled to pretty much slim to, I would just say, none at this point, because I think they're finishing 8-8, and I don't think 8-8 is going to get you in. They're going to need a whole lot of help around the league, and I don't think that help's going to come. But yeah, Chargers look good. Herbert looked good. Herbert looked everything like a Rookie of the Year candidate. Herbert went 22 of 33, 314 yards, 14.3 his average, 2 touchdowns, a sack, and a rating of 121.1. I mean, nothing you really couldn't have asked for any more. Eckler had 13 carries for 60 yards, 4.6 was his average, 27 was his long. Herbert had a couple carries, Balaj had a couple carries. Herbert rushed for a touchdown, and Balaj rushed for the touchdown. Guyton had 4 catches for 91 yards, no touchdowns. Henry had 5 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown. He did his best day probably of the season right there. And then Johnson had 3 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown. Hill had 3 catches for 39 yards. Yeah, he had 39 yards. Keenan Allen, by the way, I said he was a game-time decision. And they ended up playing him. He was on a limited snap count. I ended up benching him in fantasy because hearing that he was on a limited snap count to me did not sound good. And obviously hearing that just did not sound good, so I ended up benching him, and I'm lucky I did because he only got 1 point. So I'm glad I did bench him and I put in Mike Evans instead. And I'm sorry if you started him. I said yesterday on my podcast, that's the stuff I can't control. I told you yesterday on my podcast that, if you want to put in Keenan Allen, he's a game time decision. You just gotta look at it. You just gotta keep track on it. You go read it. It said that they're going to put him on a limited snap count. That should have been an eye-opener to me. That was an eye-opener to me. I was thinking about putting him in. Once I saw he was on a limited snap count, I'm like, no. Limited snap count is not going to get you done. The only way he gets a good game on a limited snap count is if they put him in a red zone and he catches a touchdown. He's not going to get you yards because he's not going to be out there that much. And when he's out there, they're going to probably lock him down. So that's why limited snap count. That should have been an eye-opener to many of you. I don't know how many of you sat him or started him, but if I were you, I just know for the future if you did start him, snap counts are huge. If you are limited on a snap count, that's not good, especially for a receiver too, because there's times they lock you down If you're on a limit, and sometimes you'll get away from a play, but if you're on a limited snap count, every play, 1 or 2 plays that you're in a drive, they're going to lock you down. As for the Raiders, Mariota went 17-28, 226 yards, 13.3 his average, a touchdown, interception. That interception was on him. It was a bad throw to Zay Jones. Zay Jones couldn't haul it in. And a rating of 83.3. Derek Carr went 3 for 5, 53 yards, 17.7 his average. He took a sack and a 96.2 rating. I'm not really going to count that stats. They really weren't that much. He threw 5 passes, so it wasn't anything special. Mariota had 9 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs had 26 carries, 76 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, they're going to hurt you on the run game. Darren Waller had 9 catches for 150 yards and a touchdown. Nelson Aguilar had 4 catches for 49 yards. And Josh Jacobs had 3 catches for 38 yards. I said yesterday when I was watching that game, I said that Josh Jacobs was going to be a problem. And also on the podcast I said it. But Darren Waller, he started off really slow. He didn't have a catch until like the late second quarter. But then he turned it on, and Mariota was able to really find him, and he ended up having a big day, 150 yards and a touchdown. So that was kind of it for the game. Chargers win. Herbert looked good. And overall, Chargers played pretty much spoilers last night. I mean, their season's over. They don't got much to play for. That's something you play for right there is spoilers, and they got the job done. The Chargers in a close way. Chargers have been in a lot of these games this year, so it does not surprise me that it was a close game. I predicted it to be a close game. It was a close game. It was a very entertaining game. Chargers win. So that's what I got for the Thursday night recap. Now I move on to the upcoming Saturday and Sunday games. We got 2 games on Saturday. The rest is on Sunday, and then you obviously got the one Monday night game and then the game yesterday. So your normal scheduled game. By the way, the Saturday games are not because of COVID. Every year they do these towards the end of the year. They'll have some Saturday games. Next week, I think, too, they have some. Yeah, I think next week they do, and in week 17 they don't. It's a 2-week thing. I remember the Jets had a Saturday game a couple years ago against the Cowboys. We ended up winning that game. But it's just a special game. It's on a Saturday. It's not because of COVID. It's always done this. The week 15 and 16, they always have some Saturday games on. It's just, I don't quite know why they do it. It's just how it is. And they do it towards the end of the year every year. So just wanted to make that clear. I know a lot of people are probably thinking that with COVID they had to move the game to Saturday. That's not the case. They do this every year. So we got some Saturday games on. Saturday games are Bills, Broncos, and the Panthers, Packers. So not crazy good games, but, it's football, so it's good. But yeah, other than that, all the rest of the games are on Sunday. There's some good games this weekend. I say this a lot. 90% of the times, the weekends have some good games. Some weekends have more than others. I thought last week in terms of quality of games, it had a lot of them. This week, I think the real game that I really was looking at was the Chiefs-Saints. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then even the Seahawks-Washington, I think that could get interesting. Not saying Washington's going to win, but it might be close. I think it's going to be close. So that's another entertaining game, and that's another game too. Meaning that's a big game. Washington loses, Giants win, Giants back in front. Washington wins, Giants lose. Washington is in a very good position. If both lose, Washington still maintains. So that's an interesting game. If Washington wants to make it even more, if Washington wants to really get into the playoffs easily, they got that win tomorrow or on Sunday. But anyway, so let's get into these games. So we're starting off with the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. Bills come into this game 10-3. Broncos come into this game 5-8. Bills are 5.5-point favorites. The over/under is 49.5. This game is on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NFL Network. I've said this. I'm very high on the Buffalo Bills. I've said it last week. I've said it a couple times this year, throughout the year. I'm very high on the Buffalo Bills. I think they're going to go far in the playoffs. I think they're going to make a run. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. I really wouldn't. I think there's a very good possibility that they are definitely in the AFC Championship game. Do I think they'll win it? Probably not. I'm not going to make that prediction now, though, because I don't know who they're going to be playing. More than likely, it would probably be someone like the Chiefs. But I think this is a team that's going to win a playoff game. I really do. Wild card, they're going to win their. If they make a wild card, they're going to win their wild card game. If they don't clinch the AFC, then they don't get the first round bye. They'll get the wild card game. I think they'll get the wild card. They'll win it. They'll win a division. I think there's a very good opportunity that this team goes 13-3 or so. I think there's a very good possibility of that. I think there's a very good possibility of this team going far in the playoffs. As for the Broncos, they're coming off of a good win. Drew Lock looked very good. I think with the Broncos at this point, it's a scouting job at this point. See what Drew Lock can do. See what these young guys can do. Carry it over till next season. The season's over for them, obviously. We all know. They're 5-8. They're done. See what Drew Lock can do. I want to see what Drew Lock can do against some of these top-end defenses. He looked pretty good against the Chiefs. He looked amazing. He had the third highest passer rating in a single game in Broncos history, only behind Elway and Manning. So he looked very good last week against the Panthers. Looked good against the Chiefs. Can he carry it over to another good secondary against the Bills? We'll see tomorrow. I do give the Bills the win here. I think they win pretty comfortably. I don't think the Broncos have made a couple of these games interesting this year. I don't think they will this game though. I do give the Bills the win. I just think they're overall the better team. Diggs, Allen, this offense looks so good. I give the Bills the win. I'll give it 31-17. I think they cover. And then that would put me at 48. So I take the under on the over-under 49.5, and I think the Bills cover the 5.5 points. That's my first pick. Bills win. Next pick, we got the Carolina Panthers and the Green Bay Packers. Panthers come into this game 4-9. Packers come into this game 10-3. Over/under is 51.5. Packers are 8.5-point favorites. This game's also on tomorrow, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on NFL Network. So we got a little back-to-back Bills, then the Packers, and then the rest are on Sunday. But like I said, I think a lot of people, like I said this a couple days ago. The Packers, I think Aaron Rodgers, I think he's very well in the voting for MVP. I think there's very good. I think that he's looked amazing this season. If you want to look in fantasy terms, he's the second best quarterback in fantasy. He has looked everything. I mean, he's just looked insane this season. I think he is playing a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Obviously, them drafting Jordan Love, things like that. He has looked very, very, very good this season. I think this is the best I've seen Aaron Rodgers since I started watching football. This is by far the best I've ever seen him play. I mean, outside of that Super Bowl year, but I think this is very well one of his best years I've ever seen him while me being into football and watching football. I think it's definitely been one of his best years. Him and Devontae Adams have been insane. And like I said with the Panthers just before with the Broncos, they got destroyed by Drew Lock. There's no reason they're not going to get destroyed by Rodgers. Rodgers is going to destroy the secondary. They're going to destroy the Panthers. I know there's all this talk about, they've had some close games against bad teams. No, Panthers defense stinks. Aaron Rodgers is having a career year. Give the Packers the win. 35-14, Packers win. And that would put me at the under on the over-under of 51.5. Packers cover easily. Now I move on to the Sunday games. We got a good game starting off in terms of meaning for both teams. Both teams still very well in the playoff hunt. 49ers and the Cowboys. Cowboys being the NFC East. 49ers have a long shot but not officially out. So you still got to play hard until you're officially out. But the 49ers come into this game 5-8. Cowboys come in 4-9. 49ers are 3-point favorites, and the over-under is set for 45 this game. What I saw last week out of the Cowboys was a good game. They played well. Defense looked good. Andy Dalton looked good. Receiving core looked good. All in all, looked good. We expected that to the Bengals. Okay? You put this Cowboys team up against an average team, which I think the 49ers are very average with all these injuries, Nick Mullins, all the guys like that. They're a very average team. The Cowboys have no problem beating these below-average teams. The 49ers, I would not consider a below-average team. I would consider them average, but I don't see the Cowboys winning this game. I do see the 49ers. I just can't trust the Cowboys. I really can't. I know they won last week, and everyone's saying, they won last week. Well, yeah, they're playing the Bengals, one of the worst defenses in the league, one of the worst offenses in the league without Joe Burrow. Look at the numbers. Since Brandon Allen's got there, they've dropped in almost every single offensive statistical category since Joe Burrow has left there. Their offensive line stinks. Defense stinks. Cowboys got that win. The Niners, they're not that bad. Niners will get this win. I do think it's going to be close and low scoring. 21-17. Give me a defensive battle. I don't like the 49ers offense that much. I don't like the Cowboys defense that much. And I don't like the Cowboys offense that much, but I do like the Niners defense. So give me the Niners to win this game. 21-17, going to be a hard-fought game. 49ers win. Take the under on the over-under 45, and I think they just barely cover. Next up, this is another big game in terms of playoff hunt meaning. Vikings against the Bears. Vikings come into this game 6-7. Bears also 6-7. Both teams come in 6-7 trying to chase one of the final playoff spots. Vikings are 3-point favorites. The over-under is 46.5. Vikings coming off of a brutal loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, they had the game in their hands. If Dan Bailey makes a couple of those kicks, he missed, 4 of them. He missed a total of 10 points. And sure enough, they lost by 12, but they would have made things a lot more interesting. They probably would have went for 2 a couple of times. So the Vikings coming off of a tough defeat. It's a huge game for both teams. I think this decides both teams' season. Although the Bears next week have the Jaguars, which I guess could work a little bit in their favor if they lose this game. If they're not mathematically out of it, they probably have a win next week. I'll tell you what, Trubisky looked very good last week. He really did. He had probably one of his best games of his young career last week. I think he has his moments. I don't know what you could take away from this Bear, because they were playing. I don't know really what you could say about this because he's had his moments. But obviously. He's had his moments, but he's looked bad. He's playing against a decent Texans defense. I might give the Vikings the win here. I really like the Vikings. I think they're pretty good this season. I think Kirk Cousins has gotten the job done. He's nothing amazing. He's nothing bad. I think he's done what they needed him to do. I don't think they're expecting him to be this MVP caliber quarterback. They've expected him to win them games. He's done it. So I give the Vikings the win here. This isn't a matchup that really blows out to me. In terms of meaning, it's a big game. But to be honest, even if one of these teams make the playoffs, I don't think they're going to go that far. I do give the Vikings the win here, though. I just think they're the better overall team. And I still don't trust Trubisky in that Bears offense. I know they had a big week last week, but teams are going to have those big weeks, okay? It's a matter of if you can be consistent with it. I don't see any consistency. I give the Vikings the win here. I'll give them the win. I think it'll be decent. 24-17, they win. And we'll put the under on the over-under 46.5. And I think the Vikings cover touchdown. I think they win. I've taken the unders on all these games so far. I took the under on the Bills game, took the under on the Packers game, took the under on the Niners game, took the under on the Vikings game. Am I expecting a defensive week? I mean, we've seen 2 great offensive performances. Monday night and yesterday, there was a couple good offensive performances. Am I just expecting a big defensive week? But anyway, so here we go. We now move on to our next game. Buccaneers and the Falcons. Buccaneers coming into this game 8-5. And then the Falcons coming into this game fresh off a win against the Chargers at 4-9. Buccaneers coming into this game reasonable 6-point favorites, and the over/under is 40.5. Okay, I'm not going to go too in depth in this game. I think we all understand who I'm going to pick. I do pick the Buccaneers. I still don't think they're that good of a team. I don't think they're going to go that far in the playoffs. I think this Falcons team, obviously coming off a win, they have a good offense. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, guys like that, they have a good offense. Their defense, I'm sorry, it's just their defense. If this Falcons team had an average defense, I would maybe go ahead and pick them, not necessarily this exact game, but maybe a couple of the other games. I might have picked them last week. Their defense is just so bad. They just can't play defense the right way. They're just so bad on defense. You need to have an average offense to be good against them. You don't need to be that good. You don't need to have that high powering of an offense to be good against the Falcons, okay? And I think the Buccaneers, their offense isn't amazing. I've said it. I don't think Tom Brady's played that good this season. But I do give the Buccaneers the win here. I just think they're the better team. I don't trust this Falcons offense or defense against anybody. I do think it's going to be a closer game, 28-24. I don't think the Buccaneers cover. I think it's going to be a closer game than what a lot of people expect. I don't think they cover, but I give them the win 28-24. And I think this would be my first over of the day. It will be. 28-24, so 20, that's 48, and then plus 4, that's 52. So that will be, in fact, my first over of the day. I take the over on the over-under of 48.5. I don't think the Buccaneers cover. I think it's going to be a close game. I like this Falcons offense a lot, not the defense, though. I think it's going to be a relatively high-scoring game. That's why I'm taking the over here. Buccaneers win. Next up, we got the, it's another easy game to predict. We got the Ravens and the Jaguars. Ravens coming in this game 8-5. Jaguars come into this game a brutal 1-12. Ravens are 13-point favorites. Over under is 47.5. This one I don't have to do too much coverage on it. 35-10. Ravens win. I take the under on the over under 47.5. I think they cover. Let me first off tell you why. It's the Ravens. They're coming off a big win. One thing I always try to do this. I'm rooting for the Jaguars hard. I want the Jaguars to win. Obviously, being a Jets fan, I want them to keep on winning so the Jets can actually win a game. So we can hope that we can actually win a game, because if we win a game, then we lose the first pick. So you actually want to hope that we can win a game this season instead of always, seeing us lose. The Jaguars are 1-12. I mean, the one thing I could tell Jaguars fans right now, if you're rooting for a win, because I know a lot of you people aren't, but if you're a Jaguars fan right now, rooting for a win, or if you're just a Jaguars fan in general, the one way I think you get this win is the Ravens have had the media over them a lot this week, coming off of that comeback win, Lamar Jackson coming out of the locker room and all that. If they haven't been able to really focus on this game, think this game's going to be a cakewalk. It's happened a couple times. This game's not really being that much talked about. Last week's game still is. That could be one thing. They're having a little bit of a hangover, and they're still not really focused on this game because they're playing the Jaguars and they think that their job's going to be easy. That could be one thing, but I just don't foresee it happening. The Jaguars just are not a good team. I give the Ravens the win. Next up, we got the Titans and the Lions. Titans come in this game 9-4. Lions come in this game 5-8. Titans are 11-point favorites. Over/under 51.5. This is the part of the game picks where it's pretty easy. Titans got the job done last week. They played a bad Jaguars team. They got the job done. They're continuing to try to nail the playoffs, continuing trying to, get into the playoffs and make a run like they did last season where they lost in the divisional game, or not the divisional game, the AFC Championship game. But obviously, just the Titans are just a good team. I mean, Tannehill, Derrick Henry, by far, I think he's in this week. He could break a record this week, I think. Derrick Henry could. So, this Titans team very good. And another thing with the Lions is their offense isn't very good. Titans' offense is. Their defense just is not good. Their secondary isn't good. Their defensive front isn't good. You look at this Lions team, they cause barely any pressure on quarterbacks. They literally cause no pressure on quarterbacks. That will give Tannehill a lot of time to throw the ball deep to A.J. Brown. I think it's a very favorable matchup for any Titans receiver because they're going up against a bad secondary. Derrick Henry's going to have a big day. Titans are going to have a big day. They're going to win big. 38-21. They win. And that would put me at the over-under 51.5. And I think the Titans cover very easily here. They get the win. They take care of business. And they're still in a very good possibility of obviously winning the NFC, or the AFC South. Got a very good chance of winning the AFC South still. They're obviously first in a division right now. But they've still got a very, very, very good shot at holding on to that division. Today, they got a game against the Lions. Tough one next week against the Packers. That's going to be a good game. And you got the Texans. So, you got, Packers are going to be tough, but it's not outrageously, it's not to the point where you're going to get crushed. I think the rest of their games, I think you could all say are winnable. It's going to be tough against the Packers, but I think you can still go ahead and say it's going to be winnable. So I give the Titans the win pretty easily. Next up, we got the Dolphins and the Patriots. This game's huge. Dolphins come into this game 8-5. Patriots come into this game 6-7. 1.5 point favorites of the Dolphins. Over/under is 41.5. Okay, you got Cam Newton, you got Tua, you got the battle between these two teams. Really, the Dolphins could really, really put any of that slim chance of the Patriots' playoff hopes in the out the window. They could just throw it out the window this week. All the chatter around their playoff hopes and stuff, you could throw that stuff out the window if the Dolphins take care of business today. It's a big game too for the Dolphins. If the Dolphins still want any chance of trying to come back and win the AFC East, I don't think they will just because of the way the Bills are playing. But if they want any chance, if there's still some believers out there, you win this game. Some maybe hope that the Bills lose. You're right back in the hunt there. But I do give the Dolphins the win here. I did not like what I saw last week against the Patriots, or not the Patriots, against the Rams. I did not like what I saw last week against the Rams. I know it's the Rams defense and all that. I get it, but I still did not like what I saw. I did not like what I saw out of Cam Newton. Did not like what I saw out of this running game. Did not like what I saw at all last week out of the Patriots. And I don't think it's going to carry over because this is a good Dolphins defense, and I don't like this Patriots offense. I give the Dolphins a win. I do think it's going to be close. 24-21. They cover. And I take the 24-20. That's 44. I take the over on the over-under of 41.5. Dolphins cover, barely, but they get the win. Next up, we got the Seahawks and Washington. It's another big game, too. Seahawks come into this game 6-point favorites. Washington comes into this game Seahawks come in this game 9-4. Washington comes in this game 6-7. Seahawks are 6-point favorites. Over under 43.5. First off, I'm just gonna say I don't think the Seahawks cover. Okay, I'm not saying they're not gonna win. I don't think they cover. So let's get into it. This is a Washington team. I have loved the way they've played. Really. Ever since that Thanksgiving Day game against the Cowboys, I have loved the way this team has played. I would so much say. Because that Cowboys win, I really feel like sparked them. I know they beat the Bengals. That was a win they should have and they had. They should have won and they had. But that Cowboys game, a lot of people did not think they could win. They went on national television on Thanksgiving. Everyone knows it as the Cowboys Day. Cowboys have always dominated Thanksgiving. They go on national televisions as big underdogs, go on there and dominate. That's a 2-game win streak. Then they go against the Steelers, and everyone thinking, oh, this team, they're going to get whacked. Once again, they play well and they come back and win. Then they go against the Niners. A lot of people still think they're going to get whacked again. They go out and win. Washington is just making a ton of statement wins. No one believes in them. Let's go and beat the Cowboys. Let's go and beat the Steelers. And why not? One more. Let's go beat the 49ers, who everyone think is still going to make the playoffs. They have had some big statement wins that have made a lot of these people out there, these loudmouths, I should say, quiet down. Because this is a team, I think this team is legit. This Washington football team is going to win the division. They're going to make the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to win a playoff game, but they may make it interesting. I love this defense. I love Chase Young. I love a lot of these guys in this defense. It's such a good defense. Such a remarkable story with this team. I'm rooting for Washington. I don't think they win, but I think it's going to be a close game. And then after this week, they got the Panthers and the Eagles, 2 very winnable games. I think there's a very good shot Washington ends the year 8-8. After all, that's not awful to be in the playoffs at 8-8. Washington loses this game. Close. Very close. 28-24. Washington loses. Close. Last second field goal, last second touchdown. Wins the game for the Seahawks. 28-24. Take the over on the over-under 43.5. Seahawks win. Very close, though. And the reason Seahawks win, I just think one thing about Washington is their offense. Seahawks defense has improved. Just don't. That matchup there is a little concerning. That matchup, that's my personal opinion. Why did you give the Seahawks to win? I think it's going to be close, though. I think Washington's going to show up to play. And then another thing with Washington really quickly here. This team is pretty young. They've shown us that they don't have any hangovers. You know? Like what I'm saying is they had that big win against the Cowboys. They didn't have a hangover. They came back right that next week and played the Steelers. They, same thing against the Niners, right? They didn't have the Steelers. They did not have a hangover. They came right back and beat the Niners. This is a young team. A lot of times young teams, when they get into the winning streaks, they start to not even focus and they start to just be like, oh, we're on a winning streak. This team's been really, really well. And you know what that means? That's good coaching right there. Washington does lose. Seahawks win, but close. Next up, we got the Texans and the Colts. Jeez, a ton of 1 o'clock games. There's only 2 4 o'clock games on tomorrow. Or Saturday. Or Sunday. Jeez. Sunday. There's only 2 4 o'clock games. So the majority of the games are going to be on at 1 o'clock. And there's only 2 4 o'clock games on Sunday. Cardinals, Eagles, Chiefs, Saints. And, of course, those are 2 very good games. But, yeah, so Texans, Colts. Texans come into this game 4-9. Colts come into this game 9-4. 7.5-point favorites are the Colts. Over-under is 51. Texans made it close last time they played against each other. Texans really did. They came down to the final couple of minutes there. Watson had a good game against a pretty good defense. I've loved the way this Colts offense has played the past couple of weeks. I still don't think they're all that good. T.Y. Hilton's been able to turn around. All of a sudden, he's just having an insane past couple of weeks. I still don't know if you can fully trust him, but he's been very good. He's been very reliable for them. So I don't want to sit here and say that they're not gonna that they're gonna destroy the Texans. But the Texans look good against their good defense. So I think it's gonna be a close game. I do give the Texans the win, or the Colts the win. Sorry, I think it's gonna be a close game, but I do give the Colts the win. I just think they're the better team, slightly better. I think this Texans team next year will be right back in the playoff conversation. Just some front office changes, injuries, some dumb decisions in the offseason really hurt this team. But I do think this team will be back next year. I give the Colts the win. I think it's going to be relatively lower scoring. 24-17 Colts win. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Almost like last time. 24-17 Colts win. Take the under and the over-under of 51. And the Colts don't cover. They don't cover. I think it's going to be a relatively close game. Last time it was a close game. I think it would be, again, will be a close game. Colts win, though. Next up, we got the Eagles and the Cardinals. Cardinals come into this game 7-6. Eagles come into this game 4-1. Cardinals are 6.5-point favorites. Over/under is 49.5. Okay, I'm not buying into all this. Jalen Hurts is going to lead this team to a 4-game win streak and make the playoffs and make a run. I'm not gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. I don't think that they're going to. I don't want to jump on that train. Mainly because it was one game. If he shows me this week and then next week that he's playing insane and then one more time in the final week, maybe I'll jump on it, but I don't think they will. I don't think I'm going to jump on it yet. I love the way the Cardinals defense played last week. Something about rookie quarterbacks in their first games always provide a spark and win. I mean, it's the truth. You look at some of these guys' first games. Burrow's first game played insane. Herbert's first game played insane. Almost beat the Chiefs. You look at a lot of these rookie quarterbacks' first game, it's just a thing. It's always been a thing. That's why you can never always base a quarterback off of his first start. I do give the Cardinals the win. I just think they're the better team. Cardinals win. I think they win I think they cover. I'm still not fully believing in this team. 28-21, they win. I think they cover. 28-21 would put me at 49. I would take the under on the over-under of 49.5, and I think the Cardinals cover. I just think they're the better team. Kyler Murray looked good last week. Their defense looked good last week. Overall, I think they're the better team. So, so I give the Cardinals the win. Now I move on to the Chiefs and the Saints. Chiefs come into this game 12-1. Saints come into this game 10-3. Chiefs are 3-point favorites. The over/under is set at 52.5 for game. To be honest, out of all the games this weekend, I think this is by far the best game. Now, does it match Thursday's game? Will it match Monday's game? I don't know. But this game has the potential to be a Ravens-Browns game. It really does. I think both teams are very good. You got two Chiefs, Saints. Not Chiefs, Saints. You've got two very good teams. You got a 12-1 team. You got a 10-3 team. And I think that you got two very good teams. You really do. So I think I do give the Chiefs the win here. I've said this so many times. I think the Chiefs are going to win another Super Bowl. I think they're going to win it this year. They're going to by far win it again. I think the Chiefs easily win another Super Bowl. So why not pick them here? I do give them a win. I think it's going to be a high-scoring shootout. 38-35 Chiefs win. Take the over 52.5, and I think the Chiefs win. So those are my game picks. So now let's move back up. So let's move back up here. I give the Chiefs the win, like I said. So now let's move back up here really quickly and just run through the games that I picked. I got Bills winning, Packers winning, 49ers winning, Vikings winning, Buccaneers winning, Ravens winning, Titans winning, Dolphins winning, Seahawks winning, Colts winning, Cardinals winning, Chiefs winning, and then the Browns spoiled my pick. But yeah, so now let's move into the Jets game. So those are all my picks there. Now let's move into the Jets game. Jets come into this game 0-13. Rams come into this game 9-4. Rams are 17-point favorites. The over/under is 43.5 for this game. Okay. All right. I mean, what more has to be said about this Jets football team? Really, what more has to be said about this Jets football team? Let's look through the ranks and just show you how bad this team is. And I said this. All I want the Jets to be next season is at least a competent football team. A team that could win some games. If we don't make the playoffs, it's not the end of the world. I'm not expecting it. But we obviously... Here's my whole thing. The Jets, I mean, we stink. We literally stink. So this is kind of what I'm trying to get to here. Is the Jets just stink. If we do in fact get Trevor Lawrence, right? All I want next season is to go maybe 8-. I don't want to say 8-8 because that's just outrageous. After going 0-16 to all of a sudden go 500, that's a little crazy. But at least go like 5-11. At least give the fans something to root about. If you go 5-11, Lawrence has a good year, makes the Pro Bowl, or even if he doesn't make the Pro Bowl, but Lawrence has a good year. If you go 5-11, you get another top 10, top 5 draft pick, you'll be in a good position. But I just want this Jets football team to at least be a competent football team for at least 1 year. Because this year is just, we stink. We just absolutely stink. We stink this season. So at least be a competent football team. The league rankings, Jets come in 32nd in points per game. Rams are 17th points per game allowed. Jets 31st. Rams 3rd. Total yards per game, Jets 32nd. Rams 5th. Pass yards per game, Jets 32nd. Rams 12th. Rush yards per game, Jets 21st. Rams 8th. And the yards per game allowed, Jets 30th. Rams 1st. I mean, it's awful. It really is awful. And the Jets are on the road again. This team's awful. It's horrendous. I give the Rams to win 49-7. And I think I take the over on the over-under 43.5. I think they destroy us. Donald's going to get like 3. I'm making a prediction. Over-under for Donald, 3 sacks. I take the over. Donald's going to have 3 sacks. I think the Jets might score a touchdown late. 49-7. Jets get obliterated once again. Just doubt it. 42-7. We'll put it at 42-7. 42-7. Nah. Yeah, 49-7. Or 42-7. 49's a lot. 42-7. 42-7. Jets lose. Rams win. Take the over on 43.5. That's what I'll put it at. 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox. Next up, we got the Browns and the Giants. Browns coming in this game 8-20. Browns coming in this game 9-4. Giants coming in this game 5-8. Browns coming off of a tough loss. Browns are 6.5 point favorites. Giants are obviously 6.5 point underdogs. Over under is 44 for this game. Okay. Giants stink. They reek. Daniel Jones stinks. This team is not good. This Giants football team is not good. They're 5-8. Everyone's saying, they might not make the playoffs. That's not true. They're going to lose this game. Jones is out. Colt McCoy, who's another stinky quarterback, he's back in. Okay? You got Freddie Kitchens calling plays. And, just it's not good. It is just not a good recipe for success for the Giants. The Giants are going to lose, and they're going to get badly lost. I mean, this is embarrassing for the Giants. They're going to go on national television and get the beat down this badly, because I think they're going to get crushed. I do. I have not been high on this Giants team. It really annoys me that this Giants team is receiving all this hype when they're literally last in almost every single category of offense, only in front of the New York Jets. Okay? The Giants stink, people. Saying that the Giants are good, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Numbers do not lie. Okay? Browns coming in this game, points per game, 13. Giants are 31st. Points per game allowed, Browns are 27th. Giants are 9th. Total yards per game, Browns are 12th. Giants are 31st. Pass yards per game, Browns are 25th. Giants are 30th. Rush yards per game, Browns are 3rd. Giants are 14th. Yards per game allowed, Browns are 19th. Giants are 10th. I give the Browns the win 35-10. I take the over on the over-under 44, and I think they cover easily. I mean, it's just how it is. Browns win. So these are my game picks. I have the Jets losing, Bills winning, Packers winning, 49ers winning, Vikings winning, Buccaneers winning, Ravens winning, Titans winning, Dolphins winning, Seahawks winning, Colts winning, Cardinals winning, Chiefs winning, and the Browns winning. And then obviously, and then one more time, I have the Jets losing, Bills winning, Packers winning, 49ers winning, Vikings winning, Buccaneers winning, Ravens winning, Titans winning, Dolphins winning, Seahawks winning, Colts winning, Cardinals winning, Chiefs winning, and the Browns winning. And then Steelers-Bengals, I'll preview that on Monday. So those are your game picks for another week of football. Coming up next, fantasy football. Okay. Yesterday was an interesting day in fantasy. I don't want to say it was bad, but I don't want to say it was successful either because I wasn't expecting crazy amount of numbers yesterday. I had two kickers. I had Daniel Carlson in both leagues, and I had Austin Eckler. Eckler didn't get the job done. Daniel Carlson did what he needed to do. He got me 9 points. So, he was projected 8.6. I'm not too crazed about a kicker. But yeah, I was going against, in my one league, I went against, both leagues, I went against Waller, which was not good. When I saw Waller had no points going through mainly the second quarter, I was like, ooh, maybe this is a chance for me to gain some ground. And then sure enough, Eckler ended up not having that good of a game. And then all of a sudden, right as I speak, Waller just is insane. And then there you have it. It goes from there. It's just Waller ends up. It was funny because I was sitting there. I was like, wow, Waller has not had it. Because, in between commercial breaks, I'll check fantasy. Even if I don't have anyone going, I'll still check it because sometimes I like to look around the league or like to just straight up look at some players. Sometimes there's players who have good games that aren't on team. He wasn't as bad. Sometimes you could look at a player who's on, like Hunter Henry. I just dropped him. I had to sit there and look him put up 12.5 points in waivers in free agency for fantasy. So, I don't drop him. Something, possibility sometimes happens. So, obviously, it's frustrating there. That's just on my part. But Robert Tonyan's been averaging like 9 points a game, so I'm not really concerned with him. But yeah, obviously it always thinks. Then I like to look around the league too. Even if I don't have anyone going, who's going, and if no one has anything going in my league, then I like to see, what other players are doing. Like, I wanted to see what Derek Carr's update was in the halftime. Because there was some talk about him possibly, sometimes before the TV channel or Fox or whatever says, or whoever is doing the game says if they're doubtful or questionable, fantasy will put it that. And I also wanted to see what Mariota was doing. Mariota had a pretty good game yesterday. Not that anyone really started. Or not that anyone probably started. What's his name? Mariota. He did have 27 points. So, considering he came in an odd situation, he got the job done. So, that was kind of it. But yeah, and if any of you did have Mariota starting, you are one lucky duck because he had a big game. But I don't think anyone did. He's rostered in 0.1% of leagues, so I don't see why someone would have Mariota on the roster. But yesterday, Allison Eckler had 7, Carlson had 9. Waller had 21. Eckler, he didn't have an awful game. He almost had 8 points. It wasn't awful, but it really wasn't what I wanted. I was hoping maybe 10 or 11, but he didn't get the job done. It is what it is. I'm kind of getting to this point next year, at least for fantasy. I don't like playing players on Thursday night. I just don't. It just sets a bad thing up for your team. I just don't like it. I don't like playing players on Thursday night. I just don't like it. I would rather have all my players play either on Sunday or Monday, or even this weekend's case on Saturday. But for the majority, all the games are on Sunday. So I'd rather have my player play on a Sunday or a Monday. I just don't like having players play on Thursdays because it just sets up a bad tone for your team. Now, look, 2 spots already done, and I barely did anything. But yes, this is my lineup I'm rocking with this week. Aaron Rodgers, Chris Carson, Devontae Adams, Robert Woods, Robert Tonyan, Allen Robinson, and Rams defense. And then Eckler and Daniel Carlson obviously already played. My bench is Ezekiel Elliott, Schuster, Moore, Johnson, Gurley, Gronk, and Ronald Jones. Jones is out. But let's look at the injury report. Chris Carson is questionable. Carson foot practiced in a limited capacity Thursday. John Boyle, the Seahawks official site reports. So there. Robert Woods is also questionable. Woods' thigh was limited on Thursday's injury report. Lindsay Theory of the ESPN.com report. So nothing too concerning with him. Elliott is also questionable. Not that it really matters because I'm benching him. Coach Mike McCarthy said all things look like Elliott Calf is going to play Sunday against the 49ers. Michael Gillikin of the Dallas Morning News reports. And then Ronald Jones has officially been ruled out. Buccaneers added Jones' finger to the reserve COVID-19 list Wednesday. Greg Allman of the Athletic reports. So there's your news. Like I said, every week I've been saying this. I would not recommend starting Gurley. Or not, both actually, Gurley and Elliott. But I meant to say Elliott, but both. I wouldn't recommend starting either. Yeah, but now we move on. Hold on 1 second. Let me just check here. Here we go. So let me just check one thing here. Okay, so here we go. So now my other league, I was also going up against Darren Waller. I had Daniel Carlson going now. Waller at 21 points. Carlson at 9. It didn't at the end of it. It didn't really matter too much. As it ended up being that I'm still projected to win 85. I'm still have an 85% chance to win. But Carlson, that's all. I mean, Carlson got me 9 points. I'm not expecting him to do anything better. This is my lineup this week. I have Deshaun Watson, Kenyon Drake, James Robinson, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Robert Tonyan, A.J. Brown, Rams defense. And my bench is Keenan Allen, Antonio Gibson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Raheem Mostert, David Johnson, and Cam Akers. By the way, I'm still deciding what I'm going to do with Cam Akers. If you're in the same boat like I am, waiting to see what James Robinson is, then you could obviously just be in the same boat I am. But what I am doing is, if James Robinson can't play, I'm going to play Cam Akers. If James Robinson can play, I'm going to play James Robinson. That's kind of how it's going to go. James Robinson is questionable. Robinson knee remained limited in Thursday's practice, so I'm sure we'll hear more on today. Usually Friday's the big day. If they're out, they usually don't play. If they're in, they're limited, there's a 50-50. If they practice fully, it's like 90-10. The only way is if it's he was completely out. And then A.J. Brown was also, I'm not concerned. He's questionable almost every week, goes out and balls out. Brown ankle returned to practice Friday, turned Davenport of the ESPN.com reports. So, of course, there it is. Antonio Gibson, doubtful. Gibson toe is listed as doubtful for Sunday's game against Seattle. Sam Fortier of the Washington reports. I don't know why they've listed him as doubtful. He's not going to play. But, I guess slim possibility, but he's not going to play. So I wouldn't even really be worried about it. If all of a sudden something pops up where he is, definitely start him, but he does not look like he's going to go. And Raheem Mostert as well. Mostert in ankle practice in a limited fashion Thursday. Nick Wagner of the ESPN.com reports. I don't really know if I want to trust that because he obviously they had to get him checked out a little bit more. So I don't know if I can trust that. But like I said, just keep your eyes open for that. If you have Cam Akers, because I know a lot of people use one of the top waiver ads this week. If you have Akers and you have Robinson, or even if someone who's questionable, or Mostert or someone, definitely your backup would be Akers. Now, if your backup someone if you're in an insane league like a Swift, I would probably take Swift. But you got some options. Really whatever league you're in. This is my situation. If you're in similar to me, I would definitely recommend Akers. Going against a bad Jets, going against the Jets. Anyone going against the Jets have a favorable matchup. So that's it for fantasy. Hopefully I find a way to come back in one league and find a way to hold on to the win in my other league. So that's my goal this week, is to win in both leagues like it is every week. Now I move on to college basketball and college football. There are some games on today. By the way, yesterday Kansas won and Creighton won. Today we got 3 college basketball games on. San Diego State, BYU, San Diego State wins. Tennessee Tech, Tennessee wins. And West Virginia, Iowa State, give West Virginia a win. Tomorrow we got some good games on tomorrow for basketball. Kentucky, North Carolina. We'll talk about that in just a bit. We got Gonzaga, Iowa. Number 1 Gonzaga versus number 3 Iowa. I give Gonzaga the win here. Wisconsin, Louisville, give Wisconsin the win. Kansas State, Baylor the win. Ohio State, UCLA, give you Ohio State the win. Villanova, St. Joseph's, give Villanova the win. And Florida State, UCF, give Florida State the win. So now it's time for Kentucky. Kentucky comes into this game 1-4. And North Carolina comes into this game 4-2. Kentucky this season has has been struggling. One thing I guess you could say that's positive about Kentucky is his last game. They looked very good in the second half. They played really well. But it's to the point where I just don't know if I could trust this team. I think North Carolina wins the game. I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, like I do with a lot of my picks when I pick against my favorite teams. I hope I'm wrong about this, but Kentucky's just been off to a lot of too much slow starts, and it's too little too late, is what I'm trying to say. Last week they got off to a crazy slow start. They tried to make that comeback. It was too little too late, right? You can't wait. I've always said this in baseball. Baseball is a prime example. If you're down by 5 runs and you go into the 9th inning, all of a sudden you score 4 runs in the 9th. You can't do that. It's too little too late. You can't wait till the 9th inning to do it. Almost like if you have homework. You can't wait till the final day, right? You should probably do it earlier, right? Same thing with sports. You can't wait till the final quarter to try to make a comeback. That's what Kentucky, I feel like, has been trying to do this year. They did it against Kansas. They lost the lead, and then they tried to make a late game comeback. Didn't work. Did it obviously against Notre Dame. Didn't have the lead. Tried to make a comeback. Didn't work. Richmond too. Tried to make a comeback. Didn't work. Right? They've got to find a way to make these comebacks earlier. If they're going to make a comeback, you can't wait to the final 3 minutes of the game to try to make a 20-point comeback. It's just not going to work. Kentucky's got to find a way to play a full 40-minute full basketball game. 20 minutes is not enough. Last week, it was 20 minutes. 20 minutes when a team plays a full 40 isn't going to work. Kentucky's got to play full 40 against a good team in North Carolina. I give North Carolina the win. I hope I'm wrong. I think it's going to be relatively close, probably like a 5 to 10 point game. But I do give North Carolina a win. I hope I'm wrong, though. Go Kentucky. Next up, we got the college football. So I'll read all the games. So today, we got Marshall UAB. Give Marshall the win. Buffalo and Ball State. Buffalo the win. Rutgers and Nebraska. I do give Rutgers the win here. USC, Oregon. Give USC the win. And that's it. So other than that here, okay, so here we go. So those are your conference games. So now we move on to Oregon, USA. So now we move on to the games on these Big Ten championship games and all that stuff. So we got the Big Ten championship game to start us off. Number 4 Ohio State versus number 14 Northwestern. Ohio State comes in this game 5-0. Northwestern comes in this game 6-1. Ohio State's 20-point favorites, and the over-under is 56 for this game. I give Ohio State the win here. Like I said, I think potential, more than likely, this second pick in the draft, Justin Fields has had an excellent year. I give Ohio State the win. This Northwestern team's had a couple choppy performances. I've loved what their head coach has done over there. They've had an excellent year, but I just think Ohio State, heavy favorite, probably going to make the college football playoff. I give them the win. Oklahoma, Iowa State. Iowa State comes in this game at 8-2. Oklahoma comes in 7-2. Oklahoma's 5.5 point favorites over under 58. I know a lot of people have been criticizing Spencer Rattler and stuff and Lincoln Riley in this team. I still believe Oklahoma's top tier team in college football. I love the velocity that comes off of Spencer Rattler's football. This defense has improved. But I think Spencer Rattler has improved in major strides. And I really like him. I think he's going to be he's got a bright future ahead of him. I know he had a slow start to the year. I know a lot of people were talking about him and all this stuff. I do give Oklahoma the win here. I just think they're the better team. Iowa State's had a couple choppy games this season. They've had a very good year. For a team that no one expected to do well. I think it's a battle of two pretty underrated teams, but I do give Oklahoma the win. Texas A&M, Tennessee, I get Texas A&M the win there. I'm just gonna do quick previews for the other games. I'm gonna do a little bit longer preview for the championship games. Louisiana, Coastal Carolina, that game got postponed. Mountain West Championship, Boise State, San Jose State, Boise 5-1, San Jose 6-0, Boise 6.5 point favorites over under 55.5. I give Boise State the win. Their offense has been very good this year. San Jose State's had a little bit of an interesting schedule. They've been able to battle a lot of odd things that have happened. They've been one of the teams that have gone hit harder with COVID. Not even just them getting COVID, but their opponents where they've had a lot of scheduling changes. But I give Boise State the win. I think they're the better team. Alabama and Florida. Alabama comes in this game 10-0, Florida 8-2. Alabama 17-point favorites. The over under 74.5. I give Alabama the win here. Okay. Florida's had a good season. Kyle Trask, being a Heisman candidate. Mac Jones, obviously. Najee Harris on the Alabama side. Devontae Smith. I mean, so many good players. I mean, this game could potentially be showing us a lot. I mean, this game could be potentially showing us a good 6-7 draft picks in this upcoming NFL draft. You've got a couple cornerbacks. You got Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, Najee Harris, Devontae Smith. You have Jalen Waddle, who injured his ankle earlier in the year. He was done for the year, but he's technically still on the roster. So you have him. This game is Kyle Pitts, probably the best tight end in the draft. This game is showing us probably 6, 7 upcoming first round or second round draft picks. This game. I give Alabama the win. I would have maybe given to Florida the win. I just did not like the way they played against LSU, and I just can't pick them. But I give Alabama the win. And Tulsa, Cincinnati, I give Cincinnati the win. Cincinnati's 8-0, Tulsa 6-1. Cincinnati's 14.5-point favorites over under 45. Give Cincinnati the win. And the Clemson Notre Dame game. I know there's a lot of news around Clemson. You know, are they going to win? Trevor Lawrence, all that stuff. I give Clemson the win. They're not 10. Clemson's comes in. A 9-1 on season. Notre Dame's 10-0. Clemson is 10.5-point favorites over under 60. Okay, everyone's talking about how bad this spread is. I agree with this spread. Okay, I agree with it, and I agree with this spread. Clemson is the better football team. I know they beat them in earlier, but the veteran presence of Trevor Lawrence and players like that, they had a lot of guys missing on defense that game. Veteran presence of these guys are going to win this game. I give Clemson the win. Now we move on to NBA. So we got some games on today. 76ers Pacers, give 76ers the win. Heat Raptors, give Raptors the win. Knicks Cavaliers, I give Cavaliers the win. Bucks Pelicans, give Bucks the win. Thunder Bulls, give Thunder the win. Nuggets Trailblazers, give Nuggets the win. And Trailblazers the win. Nuggets the win. And then Lakers Suns, I give Lakers the win. Now on to the Nets Celtics. I do give the Nets the win today, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN2. So that should be a fun game. I give the Nets the win to close out the preseason. And then up next, regular season. Should be exciting. I'm ready for it. So with all that being said, it's a very, very, very long podcast. But with all that being said, that will do it for the podcast today. A very long one. This is one of my longest ones here. That will do it for the podcast today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Like I said, I enjoy doing them. I obviously, as you all know, I take breaks on the weekends. So I will see you all back here on Monday. Recapping it all back here on Monday. So that being said, enjoy another weekend full of sports. Enjoy it. I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.